Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hello everybody. It is Tuesday, July 9th, 7 p.m. where I am in Ukraine, noon on the east coast of the United States, and about 9 a.m., I believe, on the west coast. So wherever you are, hello, good day. Today we are just going to go over all of the updates in the LocalViking GMB management platform. I've got a list here. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to drop them into the question box. And we've got one message here. Does anybody hear me? Let's go ahead and start with that question. Can you just go ahead and there we go. All right, Alan, not sure if you can't hear me anymore, but it seems everybody else can. So we will go ahead and we will just get started. Again, like I was saying, feel free to ask any questions related to the GMB world. I am going to just go down my list here to get started. What we've been spending most of our time on, or a lot of it on. Let's go ahead and look at the GeoGrid and let's talk about a few updates here. So the first thing I want to talk about, if you ladies or gentlemen have been using the service area business GeoGrid, we have been doing a lot of work on that. We recently, I believe yesterday, moved the infrastructure for this over to Amazon AWS and have put a little beef behind the implementation that we have for running the service area business GeoGrid. So again, if you are doing GeoGrid scans or GeoGrid searches, I highly recommend clicking this using service area business GeoGrid right now. It is currently completely free for you while we get all of our infrastructure in place and locked down. Now, a quick note, you don't have to actually be using a service area business to use this functionality. You can use the business name input, put in a business here that has an address, and then just click the radio button over to using the service area business, and that will run. Now, the next thing, well, I guess before I move on, probably in the next month or so, we will be implementing a credit-based system for the service area business. So I highly recommend using it as much as you can right now. It's not going to be nearly as expensive as the Places API, but there will eventually be a cost associated with it. Right now, again, it is free. You will have a basic number of credits or scans, if you will, based off of the tier user account that you are, and then there will be the ability for you to buy extra searches. So moving down the list, the next thing you might have noticed is we do have the conversion from meters to miles. So if you are an American or somebody that is used to using the mile system, you now have this radio button here, and you can toggle between these two. And if we go to miles, you can see that then the scale changes, and we give you these different options to set the point distance in miles and the grid size in miles instead of in meters or kilometers. The next quick update, this is something that actually just went live a little bit ago, but it is the ability for you to download a CSV or an export of the GeoGrid. You can go ahead and hop into your account and click this button and give it a try. It is going to give you a large CSV file, and every single row is going to contain a piece of data about a lat long coordinate and the businesses that are ranking inside of the bubble. So that is brand new. Please go ahead and look at it. Let us know if there's anything you'd like to see differently in the formatting, or if there's any perhaps better ideas on how to export that data so it is really usable and makes sense. We've had a bunch of requests for exporting the data into CSV, and we just pushed that out about an hour ago, actually. The next update, you may have noticed that when you run a GeoGrid, we now email you when the report is done. That is mostly because using the service area business version is going to take a couple of minutes in relation to the Places API version, which will be significantly faster. So we are shooting out an email. It is not configurable. At the moment, you are forced to get this email, but I do have a note from somebody today that we will probably add another option in here so that you can either check or uncheck the notify on complete setting, because right now you're going to get the emails no matter what. Moving down the list here, we also have little updates. So you can see we're always updating the UI, making things better. If I go into that Domino search here and I pop up any one of these points, you can now actually click on any business point, and we're going to highlight it and show you where it is in the left here. So that was something that we just got done as well. I believe there is a pending design update to make this take the entire screen or the entire modal. That should be pushed live relatively shortly. Another update we added, you may have noticed that previously for a GeoGrid dot or a lat long coordinate pair, if your business didn't rank, we kept the circle gray, and now you can see that there actually is, and I'll zoom in there, you can see that we have this 20 plus marker in there to let you know that you are not ranking at all in that point. You still possibly could see a red marker with an exclamation point. If you do, feel free to click on it, send us over a screenshot or a URL to look at, and we can hop in there and see why that's there. The next thing that I want to point out, and I'm not sure if this was already there last time or not, but if you are making the spam reports, so let's say that I go into here and I have detected a lead generation listing or a spam listing, and I went and I reported it here for being spam location. I'm not going to do that because it's real. Those reports are now being logged and will show up right here in the places reports or complaints view. This is going to help you track the places that you are reporting and see if they're actually getting suspended. Do recommend using multiple Google Guide accounts for this functionality, but you can go ahead and you can track things just like that. Again, quick reminder, do not report locations that aren't spam. We are watching and we will not be happy about that. And then the last thing for today in the GeoGrid is we have moved the API keys to the button right here, and you can actually click in, and for the time being, about hopefully the next 24 hours or so, you can only have one API key on at a time. That restriction is going to be removed again, and you can add as many keys as you want, and you will be able to toggle your keys on and off from this interface. So if you had 5 keys here, you could choose to have 4 of them on or 1 of them on, whatever it is. That will all be configurable from this interface. The reason that we restricted this only down to 1 is because we had a number of users who were putting in 1 good key and 1 bad key, and that was causing a bunch of issues. Those are all fixed now, and we just need to remove that restriction because we're properly bubbling up the errors that were happening when people were putting in faulty keys. So that is the GeoGrid updates. If you guys have any questions regarding the GeoGrid, feel free to drop that in. We are currently actively working on the GeoGrid service area business stuff. We are working on allowing you to bind keys to a specific search. So if you have 5 or 10 keys in there, you can actually, from this interface here, go into a drop down and select what key you want to use or set one as a default. And we are also allowing you to bind the keys to the locations for the weekly or scheduled GeoGrid crawls so that you can properly allocate key usage across your locations. Now, let's see here. Anna is asking, what did I say about spam? I will just really quickly show you that again, Anna. If I go into any of my GeoGrid reports, you may or may not know that you can actually report spam listings directly from our interface by coming to any of these businesses. And let's say that we wanted to go to this number 4, and we wanted to drop this as a spam listing, we could do that. We could say that the location is a spam location. We could click submit. I'm not going to. And that is going to go hit the API endpoint for reporting spam locations in the Maps interface. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead and view all of your historical spam reports right here in this Google location report. So hopefully that, yep, no problem. And then let's go ahead and let's look at some of the other updates. One quick update that I don't have an image to show you, but you probably noticed if you are a user, we updated our email templates in the last 30 days and added in a nicer looking template. Instead of using a bunch of plain text emails, we now have a nice HTML template in there. Another brand new thing that if you are a user, this isn't really going to affect you that much. We finally completed our native PayPal integration. So if you are, unfortunately, if you're an existing customer that's paid with PayPal, this isn't really going to help you unless we do some magic at the end of your subscription period. But we PayPal finally released the API that we had integrated to allow kind of seamless upgrades and downgrades and subscription management, so you don't have to actually go into PayPal and edit things and have us create a new subscription for you when you want to upgrade. All of that should be handled natively now. So that is something really important to us internally and not as important to users externally, but it was a long pending task. Now, the next thing, let's go ahead, let's hop into one of my locations here. A quick little note, we did change these reviews and we're now calculating them as stars in our reviews UI. That is just a quick little update there. The next thing that is pretty big, and if you saw my email that went out yesterday, I went ahead and gave a quick walkthrough of this. If you didn't see that, you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can just watch the next 2 minutes of what you're watching right now, because I'm about to show you the added ability for you to schedule GMB posts as well as inject EXif data. Sorry, not schedule GMB posts, but schedule GMB profile photo uploads. So uploading photos directly to your GMB is a fantastic way to increase visibility. It's one of the determinants of your GMB ranking is activity with images. It's maybe not the only thing that they're looking at. Obviously, Google is looking at a number of things to rank GMB properties or websites in general, but this seems to correlate very highly with positive rankings. Now, you can obviously choose any of the image types here in the interface, and we can go ahead and we can say we want to schedule this. So maybe I want to schedule a profile photo to be uploaded on Friday, and let's call it 12:30 in the afternoon in Pacific time. I'm going to go ahead and upload an image here. Let's just use my handy dogs search and we will grab this pink image here. So right now we're scheduling this out. It is also allowing us to inject EXif data or metadata into the image. So this was a big priority as well to us. This is something that you should definitely test, injecting EXif data or as much metadata as possible into your images as you upload. There are tons of reports of this causing positive movement in your GMB listings rankings and visibility. So let's go ahead. We have the keep EXif data option, which just means that whatever EXif data the image has that you either uploaded or pulled from the Unsplash API is just going to stay the same. The far right option for cleaning the EXif data is going to strip all of this EXif data, and there's not going to be any when the photo uploads. And what's most important to you is this ability for you to edit, and you can see that you do have access to both what is currently in the image, which this one has nothing, and then what you are editing in here, and then the preview of what's coming in. So the important thing to note here, you can obviously put in whatever you'd like, and that is going to show in the EXif data. What I'm going to do is click on this recommended EXif, and you can see the location tokens being used. So if you're not familiar with what's going on here, I recommend that you head over to our help documents, go, I believe, to the general. Let's go ahead and take a quick look here. So go to the general help section and then go to, not the general help section, go to the posting section and go to the location variables help article. And this will show you all of these tags that you have, or these variables that you have access to, and you need to put them between these two squiggly characters. And when you do that, you actually are pulling out the attributes from the location that the image is getting posted to. You can also use this during your GMB post creation step where you're putting in the content there. But what this does that is special is allows you to upload images to multiple locations at the same time. So if I were to go to this multi-location media, the interface is going to be exactly the same. We can do a profile picture. We can choose our locations. In this case, I'm going to choose a tag, and you should have multiple locations tagged to use this functionality. And then we can schedule it. Let's just go ahead and put this back there. And I'm going to do the dog search again to get back into that screen. And what we have here is now and this location doesn't have a description, but it does have the name. So if I were to have 5 locations that were tagged, I uploaded an image and I shot it out to all 5 locations, this naming mechanism or this variable mechanism is going to allow the system to inject location-specific EXif data as it uploads the image to each of the locations. So hopefully that makes sense. The next upgrade, and I guess really quick before that upgrade, we are automatically injecting the GPS coordinates based off of the location. So let's say that I had an image that was going to 5 locations and I had this button checked here. That is going to make it so that when each of the 5 locations gets the image, each image will have unique EXif data injected according to the latitude and longitude of that location's address. So you can also overwrite this and choose to inject your own coordinates. There is, I believe, a special format that it needs to follow. I will have to double check on what that format is or whether or not we've abstracted the format away so that you can just use integer values or float values, or just a number if you want a normal word. But make sure to hit up our support if you are going to want to customize your lat long coordinates, and I will have a help document created for that information. So that is kind of the biggest feature that has occurred in the last month. We put this out about 2 weeks ago and made a lot of big updates to it last week as we started testing it. And the next pending thing that we'll really do here is going to be related to an internal image gallery so that you can upload a bunch of images, optimize them, store them in our cloud, and you can also link to them from the bulk CSV upload, as well as use images that you've uploaded to a profile as a post image and vice versa. And that will kind of round off our image uploading functionality once we get that image gallery in. However, everything is ready for you to use of what you just saw right now. And let's continue down the list. We just have a couple more items here. So let's go into the posting functionality. I would like to point out the ability for you to expire recurring posts. So let's say that I had a GMB post that I was pushing out, and let's say that it was scheduled for Friday at 12:25, and we're going to say that that's going to recur every Friday at 12:25, and we're going to put that as 7 for every Friday. And let's say that we only wanted this to go out for maybe 2 months, so 8 weeks of posts. And this combination right here will have this post recur every Friday 8 times, and then it will expire and it will not post anymore. So that is some added flexibility to your post creation. It was a pending task for us for a bit, and it is out in public. And the next thing I have is a update to the insights comparison UI. So you might be familiar with the ability for you to compare your insights on your locations. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to select some of these here. And you can see that all those didn't have any action. We are now giving you a nice clear view of the percentages that have either increased or decreased for the current period that you're viewing over the previous period or the comparison period. And then you can see, okay, here we lost 75% of our listings on our maps. These numbers look pretty bad all over the board, but this is not a real location, so that's okay. Hopefully this helps you out and gives you a nice little screenshot that you can embed in your reports. The next thing here before I get into what we're looking at is going to be this Q&A CSV uploading feature. So you can click this bulk upload here now on the CSV page and go ahead and click this view example. I'll go ahead and pop it open here. And it is essentially a CSV file. There are 2 columns. One is going to be for the question. One is going to be for the answer. You put the question on the left, the answer on the right, and you make sure that the question is longer than, I guess, 4 characters. I will get a little bit of information on how many characters should be here at the minimum or the max. And then what happens is we're going to take this CSV, we're going to process it and upload each of these questions and answers to your location as a frequently asked questions section. So that was another thing that we knocked off our list. Let me know if you have any feedback at all on the Q&A uploading. I know we have a number of users that have been uploading FAQs for their clients' locations. And this now makes it a lot easier so you don't have to use the interface to do it one at a time. And the last thing here, that is actually, I believe, everything for our upcoming features or our features that we recently released. I quickly just want to touch on what we are working on right now because we would love to get some feedback on what you would like to see in regards to this. The first and main big thing that we're working on is our reporting. So we are going to have completely white labeled and scheduled reports. You can show your clients a nice report that can be emailed to them from your subdomain, and they can click on it and it can be hosted on your own subdomain as well, with your own branding and colors. And we are going to allow you to choose which insights you are embedding in the reports and automatically show only the insights that are showing increases, or you can show them all. But we're trying to make it as configurable as possible with some smart defaults so you're not spending all of your time configuring reports. There is also going to be a read-only view. So that means that this view right here actually is exactly what it's going to be, except for you'll have a special URL that you can then give out to clients or friends and family, and they can view the URL unauthenticated in the browser, so they don't have to be logged in. They won't be able to do anything destructive or add any keys or do any of the editing. They probably won't be able to see any of this. It's going to be more of a reporting view, and that's just something that they'll be able to go to at any point in the month and kind of see where they are with their insights. And that is going to be separate to the actual scheduled reports that will be available via email as well as a landing page. So it'll be a simple email that kicks out, and you can say maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's a one-time report, and you can choose the date ranges that are going to be compared. Maybe it's the previous month or the previous time period. Maybe it's the first time period that's equivalent to the existing time period for when you added a location, or maybe it is the same time period, but 1 year previous to now. So that is the first big thing that we're working on. And then the next thing that we are still actively hammering at is the GeoGrid stuff. We are making sure that you will be able to assign keys to locations so that when you're using this tracking right here, which is right now just doing once a week tracking, and we are going to allow this to be a lot more configurable, so you can choose once a month. You can choose what key it's going to be running for this location. You can choose whether you want it to be the Places API or the Service Area Business version, and you will be able to get all of that done directly from this interface here. Now, that is it for today. That was a nice short 25 minutes of me rambling. Are there any other questions here? I see a couple. And we have one from Christopher. Can we also add EXif data to our existing published photos? That is a fantastic question. I know that we do allow editing of posts after they've been scheduled. I'm gonna have to check with an engineer. I'm gonna have to check with an engineer on what happens if you edit a photo of a published post. If you want to go ahead and just hit us up in the live chat or shoot us an email to team@localviking.com or support@localviking.com, I will ask the engineers and just get one of the guys to confirm that we will re-upload an image that has been injected with EXif data after a post has been scheduled. Anna just asked, how many GMBs do you manage per Google account? That is a good question, Anna. You can just use one Google account and have all of your clients share access, manager access to those accounts. It's not a big deal. If you are talking about lead generation listings or more risky listings, that is a whole different world. We mostly are just working with actual client listings. So there's no real issue behind having client locations all shared with your agency management email. That would be no problem at all. Thank you, Anton. Okay, then yeah, Anna, you should just have one email that you can always have your clients share access to, and that won't be an issue. You cannot currently edit EXif on your photos. Do you mean through our interface or live or through the GMB dashboard? Okay, so Anna is reporting that you cannot edit an image after it's already been posted, which I guess would make sense. So to answer your question, Christopher, I do not believe that you can inject EXif data in after the fact, which maybe is just a limitation that we have simply for not implementing it. I actually didn't think about going back through and re-injecting images that have already been uploaded. All right, well, thank you everybody for hopping on. That is our monthly update. We are going to have a much larger webinar scheduled in approximately 9 days. July 18th is going to cover a lot more GMB strategy, what we've seen in terms of ranking factors in the last 6 months or so, 2019. It is going to be run by Mark. I think Chaz might actually be joining in as well. I will also be around, so that is going to be something that you'll want to set in your calendar. You will, of course, hopefully see emails from us announcing that. I will make sure that those get sent out. And other than that, if you came late today or you would like to see the recording, I am going to shoot that out via email as soon as it gets finished processing, as well as upload it to our YouTube account. So I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and I am going to see you guys next month. And we have a 1 minute last question from Mr. Ken asking if GMBs are dead. And they definitely are not dead there, Ken. GMBs are alive and well. And no problem, Scott, and thank you very much, Anna. I will see you guys all in approximately 30 days or so for next month's update.